T. How we darn, how we darn, how we darn. Let me know how you doing in the chat, who's with me, who I'm hanging out with. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to do my absolute best to help answer all your start-sit questions for Week 14. It's a huge week. You're either in the fantasy playoffs or, like for most of our leagues, you are 1 week away now, and wins are crucial for seedings, for buys, for even making it into the playoffs. So let's hopefully help you make some good decisions this week. What's up, Christian? Welcome to the stream. Elijah says full PPR, Pacheco or Pierce. Leaning Pacheco because of that Dallas defense. Yeah, I would also lean Pacheco, but Pacheco doesn't have a very good matchup either versus the Broncos. Those are both running backs that I am skeptical of this week, but I would lean Pacheco if I had to choose one. Start two at flex: Kareem Hunt, Bam Knight, MVS, Marshall, Hinton, or Bellinger. Ooh, you are in a rough spot, Jonah. Rough spot, my man. Bam Knight is definitely going to be a start for me of those options. If you guys don't know, we heard reports that even though Michael Carter will be back, Bam Knight has more than earned his role. So I anticipate Bam Knight playing kind of the first and second down role on this team. And Buffalo is a good defense, but they have a lot of injuries. So I'm going to go Bam there. Kareem Hunt, just hard to know where the value is going to come from for him. But I will go Kareem Hunt and Bam Knight there. You can't start hitting, at least I can't. And Marshall's too inconsistent right now as well. MVS, boom, bust. If you want to swap out Kareem for MVS, I don't mind it. But, I am going to go Kareem and Bam there. Christian says, I traded away CD and Elliott for Amon-Ra and Dallas Goedert. My tight end is Dolchich, and I have 3 running backs better than Elliott. Okay, I traded away CD and Elliott for Amon-Ra and Dallas Goedert. I mean, I don't think Dallas Goedert is going to play again this year. So, if this is a redraft question, then I'm not sure what his involvement will be again this year. He could. Hard to say. I just don't know if he's going to be available for you in the playoffs. But I don't know, man. Like CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra are just as good as each other. And I definitely prefer Zeke over Dallas right now. So if this is redraft, I'm probably going the CD side, just to be honest. But if it's Dynasty, I'll definitely take the Amon-Ra side of that for sure to get rid of Zeke. Full PPR with Walker probably out. I need one flex at running back: White, Homer, Foreman, James Cook. Okay, tough decision for sure. Rachaad White's matchup is not good, but he's had at least 8 targets in the past 2 games. Homer potentially could be the starter, but Ken Walker still might play. Honestly, I'm probably going Foreman there. Foreman has a really good matchup this week. If I'm not mistaken, he faces the Seahawks, so you're trying to get the right side of that matchup. But Seahawks give up quite a few amount of points to running backs. Let me double check this stat for you before I guess it. Seahawks right now give up the 3rd most points to fantasy running backs, and Deonta Foreman's looked great. Last time out, he had 24 carries, over 113 yards. So good matchup. I'm gonna go with Foreman there, but it's tough call. Frank says need to start one: James Cook, White, or Walker. Don't think Ken Walker's gonna play, but as we discussed, he could. But if it's between Rachaad White and James Cook, I'll take Rachaad White there. Still hesitant to start James Cook. Yeah, I'm not convinced that they're just going to completely stop using Devin Singletary. And why did they get Hines? We'll have to find out if they start to use him at all. What's up, Gob? Says drop Brady or Fields for Tua. Definitely not Fields, but I would be more than willing to drop Brady for Tua for sure. Fantasy FPPR. I'm assuming that's. I'm not sure what the F stands for now that I'm thinking about it. I'm assuming it's just a PPR format, but I would definitely be okay to drop Brady and grab Tua for sure. Rank these guys: James Conner, Deonta Foreman, Jeff Wilson, Devonta Smith. That's a good question. Jeff Wilson, you guys tell me what to do with Jeff Wilson. Last week was very confusing. Raheem Mostert had most of the work. I think he will bounce back, and I do believe that he will be the starting running back there. But it's very, very confusing. I do like Devonta Smith's matchup. He's always in that boom-bust category. Okay, so I would probably, based off of volume, I would put James Conner first. Then it would be probably a three-way tie between the next: Deonta Foreman, Jeff Wilson, and Devonta. But if I had to choose, I probably would go Deonta, then Jeff Wilson and Devonta Smith, because Devonta Smith is just, again, so boom-bust. So that's probably how I would order it, but that's a really difficult question to answer. All those guys could score very similarly, and one could have a breakout game. I would go James Conner based off of the touches he's been getting. Ever since he's been back, he's been heavily utilized, right? So let's look at week 10 onwards. 21 carries, 14 carries, 25 carries, averaging around 4 targets a game. He's been heavily utilized. Full PPR, Everett or Njoku. Everett has a really, really good matchup. I like Everett. I feel like Njoku is actually the safer play, though. We just don't know what he will look like with Deshaun Watson, and that's what should be concerning, which is what's concerning for me. Browns are actually pretty good. Let me double check what the Browns are doing against tight ends right now, because that could pretty much be the deciding factor. The Browns are pretty good against tight ends, so I would probably lean Everett there. Homer, Knight, James Cook, Dameon Pierce, or Slayton. So with this question, I probably have to lean Dameon Pierce. I know the matchup isn't great, but I think he has more guaranteed work than your other options. I would say if Ken Walker misses, you could probably actually play Homer instead, but we don't know if that's going to happen. Gerard says, down bad this week with injuries. I feel you, man. And buys. Pick 2 of Elijah Moore, Demarcus Robinson, KJ Osborne. What can we do with Elijah Moore? It's really confusing, because they say they want to get him more involved, and then they don't. 6 targets last time out. He had his highest snap percentage since week 4. So at least they are trying to utilize him a little bit more. If I have to choose 2, I'm probably going Demarcus Robinson and Elijah Moore there. But that's tough, man. Tua or Herbert, both are really, really good options. Both very, very good options. This is going to come down to matchup. So let's see who gives up more points. Chargers are pretty much middle of the pack. Dolphins give up a lot. Let's go Herbert there. Dolphins are the 4th best matchup for quarterbacks. So let's go Herbie. Harris says, I need to start a wide receiver 3 in Flex and Dynasty this week. PPR scoring options are Godwin, Higgins, Waddle, and Etienne. Oh my goodness. I mean, you have some incredible options there. Every single one of those players that you named are must-starts. Godwin, he's playing against the Niners. Higgins is probably who I'm going to lean here. Higgins goes up against the Browns. But then you also have Waddle. I mean, how do you sit Jalen Waddle? I'm going to go Jalen Waddle here. But again, all 4 of those players, Godwin, Higgins, Waddle, and Etienne, should be started on everyone's team. So that's a tough call, but I would lean Waddle. High-scoring game, I think it's going to be there. Start Najee, Pacheco, Gabe Davis, or James Cook. Gabe Davis, boom bust, as he has been all year. James Cook, I can't trust just yet, so it's between Najee and Pacheco for me. Let me double-check matchups. I know Pacheco doesn't have a good matchup. Najee's is actually not bad, and he seems to be fully healthy. He seems to get the workload. They play the Ravens, which is actually a pretty good defense. I'm going to go Najee there, but that's close. I'll go Najee, very close. Standard need 2 wide receivers, Slayton, Mike Williams, Shark, Peoples-Jones, or Cooper. All right, if you need 2, I'm going Mike Williams and I'm going Amari Cooper. Where would you rank Breida if Saquon misses? If Saquon misses time, it's not a very good matchup against this Eagles defense. It's not an awful matchup, but it's not a very good matchup. I would put him like top 24, right around where Deonta Foreman is right now. Right around your Deonta Foremans, your James Cooks, your Zonovan Knights, right around there. Njoku plays for the Browns. Yes, he is facing Cincy. That is right. That is 100% correct. Let's double check here. Cincinnati, they're pretty middle of the pack. Again, both of those teams matchups are very middle of the pack, so I'll stick with my original answer. Mark Cooper, Rachaad White, DJ Chark, or Matt Breida if Barkley is out. Mark Cooper, Rachaad White, DJ Chark, or Matt Breida. Probably a safer floor with Rachaad White despite the really bad matchup. But I think there is a higher ceiling with Amari Cooper. So I would lean Amari Cooper there. But let's hope Barkley plays. I think he will play, guys. I do expect Barkley to play. This is I'm not going to call it must-win matchup for the Giants, but they cannot afford to lose this with the upcoming schedule, right? They're already battling for, one of those last wild card spots. They have Philly twice, including this week. They play the Commanders after that. They have the Vikings, who are, one of the best teams in the NFC. The only easy game they have is the Colts, and that's not even guaranteed. So I believe that Barkley will play through that neck injury, but we'll have to wait and see. Start 1 flex. George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, and James Cook. Again, guys, I personally cannot trust James Cook just yet. I can't trust him just yet. I need to see it for multiple weeks before I'm comfortable putting him out there. The Jets defense is pretty good as well against the run. Above average, I would say. So I'm not going to put Cook in that conversation just yet. Pickens, I really, really love his matchup. The usage is really confusing. Really, really confusing. But I'll lean George Pickens here. That's who I would start. Ramondre or Lamb, non-PPR. Non-PPR? Probably have to lean Ramondre there. Although Ramondre hasn't had a touchdown in the past 3 weeks. He plays Arizona. And Arizona is pretty bad against the run. Yeah, I'll go Ramondre there. That's tough. Elijah says, I was just saying because the original analysis. Yep, I'll stick with my original answer. No worries. No worries solely. Christian says, where would you rank Dallas Goedert when he comes back? Although he has the worst schedule, he's still going to be in that top 5 to 8 ranking every week, regardless of his matchup, and he will continually be boom bust. As we've said with Devonta Smith and AJ Brown, to be honest, when you have such an efficient offense and no one is heavily targeted or focused on every single drive, it's good for the offense, it's good for the team, but it makes fantasy a little bit hard to predict in those scenarios. Zay Jones or DJ Chark. Opponent quarterback is Goff. Shark's not been bad, has he? I need to remind myself. But yeah, last week had 5 catches for 98 yards. Really his second game back in full action. Meanwhile, Zay Jones just put up an absolute stinker of a game. And he had very good opportunities as well. Thanks for the follow over on Twitch. But Zay Jones has a very good matchup. And so does Shark, really. Both are very good matchups. I think I'll lean Zay there. Zay has the best matchup, and then Shark has the second best matchup for wide receivers. So both are good options. I would go Zay. Palmer or Thielen. Got to go Thielen there. Mike Williams is back. We don't know what Palmer's role is going to be. Should I drop Robbie Gould for Dicker the kicker? Yeah, if rain is expected, then I would be comfortable doing that. But kickers, as you guys know, genuinely impossible to predict. But yeah, if rain is forecasted, I would be more than comfortable doing that. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. Should I draw? The Joker says Ramondre Stevenson, Jamal Williams, Rashad White, Jeff Wilson, Deontay Foreman, full PPR, pick 2. I will get to your question over on Twitch. Oh, actually, there's no question. I saw you followed. I just assumed you might have sent a question. Joker. Okay, so we got Ramondre. You said it's full PPR. Ramondre, Jamal Williams, Rashad White, Jeff Wilson, Deontay Foreman. Tough decision. Ramondre's an auto start, I would say. You know, kind of regardless of his matchup, he's an auto start. He faces the Cardinals. They're very much middle of the pack against running backs. Jamal Williams, it seems like we have finally seen the crossover where Swift is now reclaimed his RB1 status. We had a low in carries for Jamal, his lowest carry total since week 8. And actually his tied for his second lowest carry total of the year, which definitely has to be concerning for Jamal Williams. I think Swift is going to continue to eat into that role. Rashad White, bad matchup. One of the worst matchups. Jeff Wilson, good matchup, but really confusing last week where they gave him, what was it, 1 carry? Is that right? I mean, how much confidence can we really have in Jeff Wilson after seeing 1 carry, even though it's such a good matchup? And then Deontay Foreman. I'm probably going Ramondre and Deontay Foreman, personally. Deontay Foreman feels like the more secure opportunity play there. 24 carries last time out versus Denver, which is a very good rush defense. He now gets the Seattle Seahawks, which, you know, as we talked about in the stream, is a very, very good matchup. They give up the 3rd most points to the running back position. So I think I would lean Deontay Foreman there. Now, of course, if Fournette misses, that will potentially change things. And KJ's asking that, will Fournette play tomorrow? He's questionable. I think he will play. I think he will play. But if Fournette misses time, then I would change that answer to Ramondre and White based off of volume. But assuming Fournette plays, and I think he will, I will go Ramondre and Deontay Foreman. Manny says pick 2 ETN, Foreman, Zonovan Knight, and Rashad White. Okay, pick 2, Travis Etienne, Deontay Foreman, Knight, and White. Definitely Etienne is the clear start here. Again, I like Deontay Foreman's matchup, so that is something that we can definitely consider here versus the Seahawks at the Seahawks. Knight's matchup, not so good. It's not as intimidating as we thought, but we'll definitely share more of a workload than Foreman will. And then Rashad White has a really, really bad matchup versus the Niners. One of the worst matchups you can have. So let's go ahead and go Etienne and Foreman there for me. That seems like the safest play given your options. I would say Etienne and Foreman for me there. Feel free to ask any more questions, guys. Plenty of time left on the stream. And anyone who was on the support stream earlier, I'm sorry that it got disconnected early. I showed you guys that one video from First Things First, and then the stream got taken down. YouTube's very strict with showing other content. Titans give up very few yards to running backs. They do, but Etienne is the focal point of that offense. And the Titans give up, I believe, top 5 points in the air to running backs. So, yeah. You do what you want. I can only tell you what I would do. Akshay says, thoughts on Jeff Wilson and Rashad White and Foreman rest of season. Jeff Wilson's tough to gauge. Really tough to gauge. Looks like he clearly stole the job. And then last time out, Raheem Mostert goes out and by far leads the team. In snaps, he had 61% versus Jeff's 37%. In carries, he had 7 versus Jeff's 1. So Wilson, I don't think anyone could really give you an honest evaluation of his future. Rachaad White, I still believe is a good play on a weekly basis. This is just not a good matchup, right? So still a good play on a weekly basis, is going to continue to grow into that role, but this is not a good matchup to chase. So I still like him rest of season. And then Foreman is just going to be a play based off of matchup. If it's a good matchup, you can play him. Seattle this week, Pittsburgh next week, Detroit. So there's some good matchups upcoming for sure. Do I sit Michael Carter for Travis Homer if Walker sits? If Walker sits, yes, I'm comfortable to do that, because we anticipate Homer probably having most of the workload in that backfield. DJ Dallas is confirmed out, if I'm not mistaken, officially questionable, but it's looking highly unlikely. So he's not confirmed out, but there's a high chance that he doesn't play, and that obviously gives you more confidence in a guy like Travis Homer if DJ and Ken Walker don't go. Sorry, I didn't mean to come off as rude. No worries, you're fine. Geno or Herbie? Gotta go Herbert. Very good matchup for Herbert. The Dolphins give up, I believe, the third most points to the fantasy quarterback position. They give up the fourth most points to the fantasy quarterback position. So I'm going to have to lean Justin Herbert there. And Justin Herbert finally has all of his weapons back, which means he should be a very, very good play. Actually, says, can Keenan Allen and Godwin be seen as low-end wide receiver 1 and high-end wide receiver 2's rest of season? Yeah, that's exactly where I would put them. Right around that wide receiver 10 to 15 to 16, 17 range for both of them on a weekly basis. Both are going to be heavily targeted within their offense. And Keenan last week finally found the end zone, which was good to see. Actually, that was 2 weeks in a row. So Keenan's been a pretty good play since he's come back. Everyone who was able to go out and trade him when we made that video definitely will be feeling good about him right now. B Growing, what's up? He says PPR pick 2, Juju, Shark, Homer, Corey Davis. Juju, Shark, Homer, and Corey Davis. Corey Davis, tough play. I know he had a good week last week, but if you look at the rest of his season, I know we can't judge it entirely because Mike White hasn't always been the starter, but let's even look at a 2-week sample, right? Week 12 with Mike White versus the Bears, 1.9 fantasy points in PPR league. And then the next week, he goes out and puts up 85 yards on 10 targets. Like, what can we really believe about Corey Davis at this point? Really tough. I like Sharks matchup, so I'm going to eliminate Corey Davis. Juju's an interesting play because he should see more work as he continues to come back from that concussion. But, as inconsistent as Corey's been, you could say the same thing about Juju. I would say if Ken Walker doesn't play, I'm comfortable to play Travis Homer here. Assuming DJ, Dallas, and Ken Walker both do not play, let's go ahead and make Travis Homer one of those options for you. Then secondly, it's between Shark and Juju. Juju's matchup is really bad, but he has Patrick Mahomes, so he's one of those players who can play out of his matchup. But Broncos give up the second fewest points to the wide receiver position. Then you have Shark, who has been pretty good for the past 2 weeks. He actually has, I believe, the second best matchup versus the Vikings. Yeah. So you got the second worst matchup for wide receivers and the second best. So I'm going to go Homer and Shark there, which I can't believe we're saying that, but I think those are your best options. Need wide receiver help, 2 and a flex. Waddle, D-Hop, St. Brown, Kirk. Yeah, that's a tough one because all those players are must starts in your standard 12 league format. Waddle, yeah, you have to play Waddle versus the Chargers. It's a good matchup. Should be a high scoring game. St. Brown is an auto start regardless, so I guess we have to choose between Kirk and DeAndre Hopkins here. Kirk plays Tennessee, which they are the best matchup in fantasy football, the best. So his matchup is incredible. And then you have Hopkins versus New England. So we'll sit DeAndre Hopkins there. But, I mean, again, Hopkins wouldn't surprise me if he goes out and puts up 30 points. It's just all those players should start, but based off of matchups and what I would do, D-Hop would be the one that I sat there. Do I think Saquon plays? Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. I do believe that Saquon will play. This is a very, very important game for the Giants. Let's look at the playoff picture, right? Let me tell you guys why I feel this way. If the Giants had a bigger lead, I might be, you know, less sure of Saquon playing, but it's not as if they have this huge lead over the division or even over the wild card, right? They're 7-4-1 right now. Okay, Seahawks are 7-5. Washington is 7-5-1. You technically still have the Lions, who are in contention, right? They probably lose to the Vikings, makes it a little bit, you know, muddier for them moving forward. But one of these three teams, the Giants, Seahawks, and Washington, are probably going to miss out. You have Washington next week. You have the Eagles this week, who are, you know, obviously best team in the NFC right now. And I believe they have the Eagles at the very end of their year as well. I think the only easy matchup for them is the Colts for the rest of the year. Every other matchup is a tough game, so they need to win every single game they can. I would imagine Saquon plays through that neck injury, but I could be wrong. My instinct says he plays, but let's see. Rate the squad. Burrow, Patterson, Foreman, Chase, Allen, Godwin, Higbee. Pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, you could definitely, depending on matchups, interchange your running backs. You could definitely interchange your running backs every week, depending on matchups. So that's good that you have that flexibility. You have some superstar wide receivers. I like it. I'll give it an A- territory. Rachaad White or Jerry Jeudy. I'll probably lean Jerry Jeudy there this week. No Cortland Sutton. Jerry Jeudy plays the Chiefs, and they are the fourth best matchup in fantasy football. You know, most recently, I believe 2 weeks ago, they allowed Christian Kirk to put up a 30-point game. So while it's not a good offense at all in Denver, no Cortland Sutton, there should be plenty of opportunity for Jerry Jeudy. Waddle has not been the best past 3 weeks, so he worries me the most. With that being said, last time I sat Waddle, he put up almost 40. Yeah, one of those players where there might be some bad games, but you can't sit him. The upside is always through the roof. Deshaun Watson, Jared Goff, or Tyler Huntley. I'm probably going to lean Jared Goff there. I want to say Deshaun Watson, but we need to see at least one good game from him first. Jared Goff plays the Vikings, and the Vikings have been giving up a lot of points to wide receivers, and also to quarterbacks. They've been pretty middle of the road, so it's a good matchup for him. Vikings are going to be able to score, and then they're going to have to rely on offense, which is what they've been doing all year. The Lions, that is. Lions give up the most points to quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins should have a day. On the opposite side of that, the Vikings are top 10 against quarterbacks as far as points they give up, so it should be a high-scoring game. I have Saquon, JT on bye, and Pierce. Picked up Kareem just in case. Yeah, that's a good backup plan for sure. Jeffrey says, which NFL teams need to win this week, which may cause upsets on rankings? Well, I would say you could definitely put the Chargers in that category. The Chargers need to be aggressive versus the Dolphins. If the Chargers go 6-7 here, the Bills probably beat the Jets, right? Which would make the Jets 7-6. The Patriots could beat the Cardinals, but you can't rule out any of these teams either with their record. So I would say the Chargers are very much in a must-win scenario, and this could mean a lot for the franchise in general. If they miss this game and they end up losing out in the playoffs, you could see a coaching change. I'm not saying you will, but you could, because the same issues we had with the last regime are the same issues we're having with this regime. Drop fire immunity for Hunter Henry based on matchup. No, I would still play I would still play Pat Fryermuth. If Deshaun Watson bombs again this week, is he worth dropping? I have Lamar Jackson. Not if you have Lamar, because we don't know when Lamar's going to be back. And I would have low expectations for Watson this week anyway. It's not a very good matchup. You know, the Bengals are really, really good against quarterbacks. But you have some really good upcoming matchups after that in the playoffs. So I wouldn't drop him, but I would definitely have low expectations. My Vikings, worst 10-2 team in football. Still can't believe Dallas beat us that bad at home. Oh my gosh, that was a beatdown, man. That was tough to watch. I mean, what did they say? Didn't they switch to a different game? And like it was on a primetime channel and they switched to a different game? That was rough. No worries, Jeffrey. Yeah, I would definitely say the Chargers are must win. There's a lot of teams who are must win here. The Lions can't afford to lose if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive against the Vikings. Expect them to be aggressive. I would expect the Seahawks to be aggressive as well because they really don't want to get into a battle with Washington and New York. I would say this is a must-win for the Patriots, the Browns, Chargers. Those are the teams there. Wilson Jr., Pickens, Zonovan Knight. Pick 2, please. Okay. Pickens has an incredible matchup. Really, really confused about what happened last week with him, to be honest. And a lot of opinions going around social media. I like that a wide receiver like George Pickens is going to say to his team, hey, I can do more for you. Give me the ball more. I can do more for you. Let me prove that. I like that he has that kind of attitude. Other people don't. That's fine. Well, the question's gone now, but I would say Wilson Jr. I couldn't remember the other. Okay, so Wilson Jr., Zonovan Knight, Pickens. I'll probably go Wilson and I'll probably actually go Zonovan Knight here and George Pickens. I just don't know what to think about Jeff Wilson right now after he had 1 carry last week. I started watching 90 Day Fiancé. It was so bad. That's actually an entertaining show as well. Half PPR, pick 2. Pick 2 wide receivers. Deshaun Watson, Jameson Williams, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Well, Deshaun Watson's not a wide receiver. I'm trying to think of who that could be. Let me know who that is. Jameson Williams, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Man, Jameson Williams. Yeah, I was like, Deshaun Watson's not a wide receiver. You can't play Jameson Williams yet. Good matchup, but he played, I think, 9% of snaps last week. What did he play? 11% of snaps. He had 1 target. So we can't start him yet, even though it's a good matchup. But I don't know what your other options are. Let me know what the question is. Death Lord says, more realistic NFC Championship matchup, 49ers, Eagles, Vikings, Eagles, or Cowboys, Eagles. Hard for me to trust Cowboys. To me, I would say Vikings, Eagles. Just with quarterback play for San Francisco, I know Purdy was good, but we'll find out a lot about Purdy this week. I'm not surprised that Purdy stepped into one of the best teams, one of the best offenses in the NFL, and did well when no one game planned for him. We have seen backups play well when they've come in mid-game. The real test for a backup is not if they can come in mid-game and play well. It's, okay, now the defense has an entire week to scheme around you, the starter. This is the real test for Brock Purdy in my mind. It shouldn't be a shock that he played well last week. But if he plays well this week, I think we should have more confidence in the Niners moving forward. But this is going to be a huge week for that Niners team. If Brock Purdy comes and plays like he did last week as a starter with the defense game planning for him, then I would probably say the Niners Eagles. But you know, if he looks a little bit more rough, I would say probably Vikings Eagles there. Half PPR. Yep, Wilson, Pickens, Bam Knight. I'm probably going Bam Knight there and Pickens. Again, I thank you for the sub, C-Mac. Appreciate that. I really, really like Jeff Wilson's matchup. I really do. It's just hard to now start him after last week he had 1 carry. I know the matchup was bad last week, but one carry, how do you then go and trust that player next week, even though it's a good matchup? So I'm trying to steer away from Jeff Wilson if I have other relative options like you have with Pickens and Bam. So I'll go Pickens and Bam there. And I wouldn't drop Pickens for Shark, no. You have to anticipate kind of two things happening with that question. You have to anticipate Pickens getting more involved over the back half of the year. That's what we see with rookies typically. And you have to anticipate DJ Chark probably becoming less involved over the last couple weeks, because we're going to see Jameson Williams probably grow in his role. Okay, Justin Jefferson versus Darius Slay, round 2. That would be must watch because Jefferson got locked down. That first game was not something that Darius Slay would like to watch that film again. I don't think Jefferson would. But speaking of, it's a random tangent. How about Terry McLaurin? Terry McLaurin is one of the only wide receivers this entire year that absolutely dominated Darius Slay. Let's talk more about Terry. Kyle, thank you for the sub. Obviously, you know, Terry's not going to be consistent because he doesn't have consistent quarterback play, but let's give some more respect to Terry McLaurin, man. Why do you keep skipping my question? Is it because I'm handicapped? I haven't seen your question the entire time. I don't see one question here from you. So if you want to ask me a question, I'd be happy to help, but I haven't seen a single question. Here we go. Pick 1, wide receiver, half PPR, Gabe Davis, Donovan Peoples-Jones. My other wide receivers is CeeDee Lamb, who's a lock. Okay. Gabe Davis, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Yeah, you got to go Gabe Davis here. Both of these players are boom bust. But yeah, there's far more boom right now with Gabe, I would say, in his matchup versus Donovan Peoples-Jones. Tough call. I would go Gabe there and just hope he has one of his 20-point games. What's up, Joe? Gob says, if Amari Cooper is out, one wide receiver, Debo or Hollywood. Also one running back, James Conner. Okay, the running back is easy. I would go James Conner. James Conner has been getting a ton of opportunities since coming back from his injury. Actually, since week 10. Check this out. Let's do some quick maths. Since week 10, he's averaging over 90% workload. Hey, thank you, C-Mac, for the donation. I'll get to your question right after this one. Thank you so much for your donation, though. In the last 3 weeks, James Conner is averaging 90+% of the snaps. He's averaging 23.5 touches a game. So James Conner, based off of opportunity alone, needs to be started. So I'll go Conner. Between Debo and Hollywood, that's a tough call there. I'll probably go Debo, though. And then you need a flex, and I would flex Hollywood. Yeah, that feels good. Conner, Debo, and then flex Hollywood. All right, thank you so much for the donation, C-Mac. We'll get straight to your question. If you guys don't know, if you do submit a super chat, it will always be answered straight away. Very, very thankful for your donation there. Okay, pick 1. Homer, Mostert, or Pickens? Ooh, tough question, man. Really tough question. How I would play this is dependent upon who's active for Seattle's backfield. If Ken Walker and DJ Dallas are both inactive, then I would probably play Homer here because I feel like he would have the safest floor. Now, if Ken Walker's active, I would probably lean Pickens. I know that it's been relatively confusing, but the matchup is really good, and I anticipate this being a grinded out game between both teams. I don't think either team is going to dominate in this one. So that's how I would play it. Again, if Ken Walker and DJ Dallas are both out, Homer's a safer play, safer floor. If not, I'll go Pickens for the upside. All right, rank these 6 wide receivers. Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. Stop it. I know this has to be a joke. Do you mean in general, or are you asking me to start? Because those are all like superstars, fantasy wide receivers, must starts. If you're asking me in general, like just NFL wise, maybe that's what you're asking. You gotta put If I'm projecting into the next 5 years, it would be different to how I feel right now. So keep that in mind. I will answer this question as if right now, today, if we were go out and play a game right now, I would rank them as the following. Devontae Adams 1. I think that feels really safe for me. I will put Justin Jefferson 2. I will put Tyreek Hill 3, Diggs 4, Chase 5, and Cooper Kupp 6 because he's not healthy. So again, I'm answering the question as if we were going to play a game tomorrow, and I'm not answering it based off fantasy either. Kyle says, full PPR, I have JWJ. I'm trying to figure out who JWJ is. I've never heard that. Tell me who JWJ is. I'm blanking. Who's JWA? Najee, Homer, Moore, Knight, and Schultz. Pick 2 running backs. Jeff Wilson Jr. Okay. I've never heard JWJ, but I like it. Okay, Jeff Wilson, Najee, Homer, Moore. Okay, very interesting. And which Moore is this? This could be DJ Moore. This could be a couple different Moores, so clarify that for me. I would say let's go with Najee automatically. Okay, that's DJ Moore. DJ Moore has a good matchup. I don't want to start him, though. Najee, however, I will start. 18 touches last week. The week before that, when he was fully healthy in week 11, 26 touches. So based off of volume alone, I'll say Najee would be a starter there if I have to pick 2. Oh, pick 2 running backs and 3 flexes. Oh, that will make it easier. Okay. If Ken Walker and DJ Dallas don't play, I will start Homer. If Ken Walker does play, I'll probably go Zonovan and Najee for your running backs. And then if you have 3 flex options, 3 flex options, let's stick. I think you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So really, it's just who do you want to sit? It's really the question is more sit 1, isn't it? Okay, so if we have to sit 1 player here, for me, it's really between Dalton and Jeff. And I think I would lean Dalton. So that's who I would sit of those options. Jeffrey says, half PPR, pick 3 starts for running backs. Samaje Perine, Rachaad White, Dameon Pierce, Jeff Wilson Jr., my other running backs. Okay, so I would say we can't start Samaje anymore. He's only good if Mixon is out. Rachaad White and Dameon Pierce both have really bad matchups, but I like White much better because he has a safer floor in PPR leagues and even in half PPR leagues. In the past 2 weeks, Rachaad White has seen at least 8 targets, even with sharing the workload with Fournette. So I'll go for Fournette there. Pick 3 starts. So I'll go Rachaad White, Dameon Pierce, Jeff Wilson Jr. My sit will be Perine. Like Perine, but only if Mixon is out. Deathlord says Justin Jefferson over Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, and Jamar Chase. You got to be capping. I'm definitely going Justin Jefferson over them. That's me, though. I think Justin Jefferson is the second best receiver in the NFL. Why is that a cap, though? Why is that a hot take? I'm actually curious, though, why it's a hot take. Justin Jefferson, second in yards this year. Third in receptions. I don't think it's a hot take. Maybe it is. Appreciate your channel and hats your thoughts. I'm assuming that's what's right. And what's your thoughts on Watson for the next few weeks? We talked about him a little bit earlier. Overall, I have very low expectations for this week because it's not an incredible matchup for him. But there's a couple good matchups in the playoffs. You know, I definitely think he's going to continue to get better. He's going to get that rust off. I know who he is as a talent. So I would feel like that we have like a 10-point game this week, a 10 to 15-point game. And then after that, I think you're going to have a lot of 15 to 20-point performances, in your standard 6-point passing touchdown type of format. That's where I would lean there. But yeah. Anyway, guys, just want to say again to the people who are our supporters over on Patreon and YouTube members. Sorry that the supporter stream went a little early today. I showed you guys a clip of First Things First, and the stream was taken down immediately. YouTube is so strict with copyright. It's impossible to show any sort of film or game or even other shows. So. That's why that stream was taken down, in case you guys are curious. But we'll be back up next week. Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill are both better route runners. Come on, man. Why are we putting like Diggs and Tyreek in like a different category as Justin Jefferson as a route runner? Really? I don't want to start an argument that we clearly see differently, but that's good that we have different opinions. That's the beauty of the game that we play. Everyone's welcome to different opinions for sure. But I don't think we're going to see eye to eye there based off of that comment. So it is what it is. Everyone's welcome to what they think, That's the beauty of fantasy football. That's the beauty of the NFL, of covering it. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. Any last minute questions, guys? I thought we were talking about them as players. I didn't know we were talking about their surrounding support. Let me know if you guys have any last minute questions here. I'm going to go eat some food after this stream, hang out with the family. Seems like we might be all goods. Well, I will say absolute best of luck to everybody this week in fantasy football. I hope that whatever you need to happen will happen for you. Pasoxer says, love your channel. Always in-depth analysis and feedback. Appreciate you. Thanks for the hangs. Appreciate it. All right. MCS Braces. I think this is the one who was saying earlier, why do you keep skipping my question? This is the first question I've seen from you, so happy to answer it. Pick 2. Nick Westbrook-Akine, Elijah Moore, Isaiah Hodgins, Nelson Aguilar, Terrace Marshall, Greg Dortch, or Devontae Parker. Those are all really, really difficult decisions, man. Ideally, you wouldn't have to start any of them. Nick Westbrook-Akine versus the Jags. Elijah Moore versus Buffalo. Who knows what his role is. Hodgins, to me, feels like a one-week wonder. I could be wrong. Nelson Aguilar versus the Cardinals. Terrace Marshall has the Seahawks. And Devontae Parker. Yeah. For me, I'm probably going Westbrook-Akine here with no Treylon Burks and a good matchup. And if I had to choose another, I probably would go towards Elijah Moore. Really tough call. That's what we call a trap question. Couldn't tell you exactly who is going to be the right play there, but if it were me, I would go Nick Westbrook-Akine and Elijah Moore. Dolchich or Hunter Henry. I'll probably lean Dolchich there. Again, no Cortland Sutton. So yeah, Greg should be a more than fine play versus the Chiefs. They're going to have to put up points. I would go Dolchich. Can at least ask what you see in Justin Jefferson. I mean, people are already saying he's better than Randy Moss. I mean, the dude has set records every year he's played. Broke the rookie record. Then after that, most yards through the first 2 years. I don't even know. I've never had to defend Justin Jefferson, so I don't even know what to say. I mean, he's breaking records every single year, making incredible catches, leading his team to 10-2 record. I mean, I've never had someone dislike Justin Jefferson or had to defend him. Incredible route runner, great hands, the best start to a receiver's career ever. What is there to not like? I don't know. I lost Lamar Jackson due to injury. picked Goff up for this week. Which waiver quarterback has a good matchup next week, first round of the playoffs? We actually have a video about that that's already out, but let me have a look for you. NFL Week 15 schedule. I mean, you're a Patriots fan, so fair enough. I mean, look, I'm not saying he's better than Randy Moss as a player, but if you want to say stats, stats are facts. They're not opinions. He has the best start to a wide receiver's career ever. That's not my opinion. That's just a fact. So you can like Randy Moss better. I'm not going to sit here and say Randy Moss and Justin Jefferson, there's a huge gap between them or anything. But the facts are that Justin Jefferson, by analytics, by stats, has the best ever start ever by any player. Streaming quarterbacks next week. Depends on who your options are, to be honest. I'm trying to look for you now here. I would say Ryan Tannehill's not a bad stream versus the Chargers. That defense is pretty rough. You could potentially... I mean, it depends on how desperate you need to get there. Marcus Mariota or Desmond Ridder, you don't really want to start him first week back. Yeah, that's a good question. If Tyler Huntley is still going, he would be a great streaming option. Yeah, those would be the two guys I would point out. I watched Moss's whole career. Jefferson's off to the same start of his career that Moss had. If he stays healthy, he'll be an all-time great. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and say that like Justin Jefferson's a different tier to Randy Moss. Why? They're both great. Let's just say they're both potential all-time greats. Jefferson is a beast, but Kirk Cousins is not the answer, throwing him the ball. Sure. I just don't know where, like, are you defending Justin Jefferson or are you wanting me to, I don't know what to say. I love the conversation, though. Hey, man, would you play Mike Williams over Saquon? If Saquon plays, I'm going to play Saquon. If Saquon plays, you play Saquon. If he doesn't play, Mike Williams is a fine starter as well. But, guys, anyway, I'm gonna log off for the day. Almost been an hour since we've been live. And then we did the supporter stream earlier. Appreciate you guys. Love the conversations. Love the difference of opinion. And really, really appreciate, all the conversations that we have on the channel all year. It's been really, really fun. Thank you for your support, for your likes, for your subs. I'm defending Justin Jefferson. Sure. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I agree that he definitely elevates Cousins' game. But, guys, have a good rest of your week. I hope that everyone here gets the win they need for fantasy. You're in the playoffs, and we'll see you next week. Good luck. Stay tuned to the practice reports. Stay tuned to Twitter. Stay tuned to, in-outs, weather reports, all that. And we'll see you next week.